Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. Boys and girls, you can't stop what's coming. You can only try to contain it. I'm over here at the Twitter of Ryan Saavedra. Breaking: DOJ has shifted its administrative review of the origins of the Russia probe into a criminal investigation. The move gives John Durham the power to subpoena for witness testimony and documents, to impanel a grand jury, and to file criminal charges. And he's attached a New York Times article here, but I actually want to take you over to a Fox interview with Sarah Carter. Check it out.
Oh, it's a montage, because we ain't trying to watch the whole dang thing now.
The Justice Department has now their investigation into the origins of the Russia investigation. It began as an administrative review. It is now officially a criminal investigation. Even the New York Times acknowledges what this means. That means that we know, in this case, John Durham, it gives him the ability as prosecutor, the power to subpoena, the power for witnesses, testimony, documents, to impanel a grand jury, to file criminal charges. We now have the breaking news that the Justice Department investigation into the origins of this witch hunt has now taken a dramatic level of seriousness, with real subpoena power and real ability to charge people. We also have, just breaking again in the last hour, the Inspector General report. A letter from the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, on FISA abuse will now soon be released to the public with very few redactions. Well, your committee will be in charge of this, Senator. Your reaction to all of this?
Well, I will be calling Horowitz before the country as a whole to let him go through his report, tell us what happened with the FISA warrant application. Was the counterintelligence investigation properly opened? Was there any wrongdoing by DOJ and the FBI? Somebody's got to watch those who watch us.
Let's just start with John Durham. I talked to a U.S. official that said this shift, this move from an administrative review right now to a criminal inquiry is very significant. And why? Because what we know is that Attorney General William Barr, as well as John Durham, have been traveling overseas. They've been talking to intelligence officials, to our allies in Italy, to others across the pond in London. So there may be developments that we don't know about yet that caused this shift, that it moved directly from an administrative review to a criminal inquiry, which will give John Durham the ability to subpoena, to talk to witnesses, to look at documents, and to impanel a grand jury. So this news is huge. It's significant. And we're also going to be looking at right now with Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, if this report comes out shortly, which we expect probably within the next week, after going through all the classification review and markings, and because they're going to be releasing it in full with very few redactions, that means that it's moving forward. Horowitz is moving forward. At the same time, we can see that the Attorney General, that the Department of Justice, that John Durham is moving forward with their investigation. This means that somewhere along the lines, we're going to be having some information that we may not have had before, and a reason for John Durham to actually open the criminal inquiry. And remember that John Durham was actually questioning CIA officers as well that were closely connected to this. And they're going to be looking at John Brennan, the former CIA director, as well as James Clapper and others. So this may be the reason why we saw so many of them scrambling over the past year. I'm sure they were aware of what was going on to some extent. They knew that they were going to be questioned. And now John Durham actually has the power to question all of them. And this is very significant. And it's going to reveal a lot as to how far they weaponize the intelligence community to go after President Trump.
So there you go. Looks like Brennan and Clapper should probably be lawyering up. And I don't imagine this is going to be public. At least now we're not going to hear anything publicly, but looks like Durham wants to hear from both of these guys. And I'm pretty sure they both knew about it. After all, both of them have been in the media for a long time, working as analysts over there, contributors at CNN and whatnot, making the rounds. In particular, I've never thought James Clapper was doing him very many favors. As a matter of fact, I think he's been kind of trying to set the stage for a long time because he knows that he's directly implicated in this and that this is going to come right back to him. And of course, we know that John Brennan was our orchestrator. We talked a lot about that in the last video here entitled Whistleblower Charamella. Big thanks to Greg Rubini on Twitter over there who did some great work. But we can see that this all came from John Brennan, right? And John Brennan knows this too, and that's why he's been out there setting the stage. So, like I said, don't imagine this is going to go public, at least not right now, but Durham wants to know what's up, and it looks like the game has changed in regards to this being a criminal investigation. Being able to form grand juries should be a very big part in picking up some pace here. Now, in regards to the Horowitz report, I just want to say I remain cautiously optimistic about this whole, next week kind of thing. Don't be surprised if the goalposts get moved on that too. And of course, Lindsey Graham, he seems all really all interested in bringing in Rudy Giuliani, but he doesn't seem to want to talk to Clapper or Brandon. And of course, I think we all know that this is probably going to be the end of the road pretty soon for Lindsey Graham too. We know that he's not probably the real reason that anything is going to get pushed forward. He is just there to stonewall and tell us what we want to hear for a little bit. But either way, looks like it's time to lawyer up. Speaking of lawyers, attorney extraordinaire and lawyer to General Michael T. Flynn, Miss Sidney Powell, right in the kisser, filed a couple motions right here. This one is from the 23rd. This is a motion to file proposed redacted reply brief and brief in support thereof. And then we've got this one from the 24th here. Flynn reply in support of his motion to compel production of Brady material and to hold the prosecutors in contempt. Interesting stuff here, and there's a lot of pages. Technofog on Twitter broke some of this down, and I want to take you there. Techno says, breaking, new Sidney Powell filing in the Flynn case. Lisa Page edited the Flynn 302, being his statements. James Clapper told WAPO reporter Ignatius to basically, quote, take the kill shot on Flynn. This is from page 4. Let's take you to that second paragraph right here. The real evidence the government had long suppressed caused a cavalcade of major events, many within mere days of Mr. Flynn's plea, and all unknown to him before it. Lisa Page, special counsel to Deputy Director McCabe, resigned, being Andrew McCabe. She had edited Mr. Flynn's 302 and was part of the small high-level group that strategically planned his ambush. Now we're on page 15. Let me take you to the top here. Stephen Halper is a known longtime operative for the CIA, FBI. He was paid exorbitant sums by this FBI, CIA, DOD through the Department of Defense Department's Office of Net Assessment in 2016. His tasks seem to have included slandering Mr. Flynn with accusations of having an affair with a young professor, a British national of Russian descent. Flynn met an official dinner at Cambridge University when he was head of DIA in 2014. Flynn has requested the records of Colonel James Baker because he was Halper's handler in the Office of Net Assessment in the Pentagon, and ONA Director Baker regularly lunched with Washington Post reporter David Ignatius. Baker is believed to be the person who illegally leaked the transcript of Mr. Flynn's calls to Ignatius. The defense has requested the phone records of James Clapper to confirm his contacts with Washington Post reporter Ignatius, especially on January 10, 2017, when Clapper told Ignatius in words to the effect of "take the kill shot on Flynn." It cannot escape mention that the press has long had transcripts of the Kislyak calls that the government has denied to the defense. And let me remind you that we went through James Baker's testimony a while back. I did a pretty thorough thread on it on Twitter. But really, he was kind of playing dumb the whole time, saying that Lisa Page and Peter Strzok had this unusual relationship. He was sort of aware with it, but he didn't really step in. He seemed to kind of want to distance himself. Now we get some more text here between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. The incoming, I'm imagining, being from Lisa Page. Hey, I was considering what you said. Please just drop off what you have. I will incorporate it tonight, tomorrow, and email it back out to you. Thanks for your time on it. Incoming says it's fine, unrelated, but you need to finalize that ASAP. I wouldn't be surprised if following this evening's events that a request comes in to see it. Peter Strzok says, I don't. Plus M1625'T. Believe you. I have no idea what that means. And I love you. Thank you, with an I. I'm going back in tonight to do so. I gave my edits to Bill to put on your desk. I'm assuming that's Bill Priestap. Bill didn't leave your edits in my office. I found them in his. So please let me know if you're not okay with my grabbing them. Okay, so it sounds like the edits were going through and Bill Priestap knew about this. You're not supposed to be editing these things. And here's another one from Peter Strzok saying, also have some faith in and my assessment. Of course, there's room for disagreement or error, but we were pretty convinced it's fine to disagree. Your hesitation to tell me you did worried me a little bit. Okay, so right there, that sounds like Flynn told the truth, and it sounds like they knew it too. Interesting indeed. Now I'm taking you to section 6 here. If you're following along at home, this is right at the bottom of page 10 where it meets 11. On February 10th, 2017, and Technofog points out that this was about 2 weeks later after the interview, which was the 24th of January, the news broke, attributed to senior intelligence officials that Mr. Flynn had discussed sanctions with Ambassador Kislyak, contrary to what Vice President Pence had said on television previously. Overnight, the most important substantive changes were made to the Flynn 302. Those changes added an unequivocal statement that Flynn stated he did not, in response to whether Mr. Flynn had asked Kislyak to vote in a certain manner or slow down the UN vote. This is a deceptive manipulation because, as the notes of the agents show, Mr. Flynn was not even sure he had spoken to Russia Kislyak on this issue. Yeah, so if he wasn't even sure that he had talked to him in the first place, how would he know unequivocally whether he said he did or did not? Now here's some more here. Second, they added, or if Kislyak described any Russian response to a request by Flynn. That question and answer do not appear in the notes, yet it was made into a criminal offense. Now we're in section 4 here. The final 302 falsely states that Mr. Flynn remembered making 4 to 5 calls from the Dominican Republic, when both sets of notes state he does not remember. And this is the quote, I don't remember making 4 to 5 calls. If I did, lousy place to call. The final 302 states the opposite. Flynn remembered making 4 to 5 calls that day about this issue, but that the Dominican Republic was a difficult place to make a call as he kept having connectivity issues. Okay, well, that's not what he said at all. Okay, finally, let me leave you with this. Paige didn't recall whether she took part in editing the 302 of the Flynn interview, but upon seeing a text message and the email of February 10th, 2017, she believes she must have seen it at some point in the process. Yeah, probably the part where you edited it and put it on Bill Priestap's desk for Peter Strzok to find it, like we just saw in these text messages. So this is very big. Sidney Powell has known about this to be big. I'm sure Flynn, of course, knew about this. And this is likely why they've never even bothered to change the plea, because when we see this, this is really going to discredit the whole investigation. And keep in mind, the guy who took Flynn's plea was a buddy of Peter Strzok. So this whole thing is an absolute mess. Brilliant work by Sidney Powell. Thanks very much to Technofog for laying this out for us. This should prove to be big. Looks like Hillary Clinton knows something big is coming too. Hillary's latest excuse for losing, flashing videos on the dark web. This is from the Daily Caller. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton blamed flashing videos on the dark web for her 2016 presidential election loss last Friday during a radio interview. Clinton said on Campaign HQ's podcast that she anticipates President Donald Trump will employ a similar strategy to win re-election next November. And I don't want to read this to you. You got to hear this from her own mouth. Check it out.
I think it's going to be the same as 2016. Don't vote for the other guy. You don't like me, don't vote for the other guy, because the other guy's going to do X, Y, and Z, or the other guy did such terrible things. And I'm going to show you in these, flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. But you're going to see them, and you're going to see that person doing these horrible things.
Well, what do you know, Hillary? Is there a flashing video going around about you on the dark web? I don't get on the dark web. I don't know if any of you guys get on the dark web. I don't get on the dark web. I don't know anything about that. Well, we all know that there is some rumor of a video going around. I know some people are saying it's true. I am not necessarily one of those. But the word has been out there. Now, that's not why you lost, Hillary. The reason you lost is because you sold special access programs to China. You sold us all out, and you sold our uranium. And yeah, there's a lot of other reasons other than just this flashing video. But typical Hillary Clinton style, she is deflecting once again. Sounds like she's anticipating something possibly coming out. We shall see. Let me turn you over to this right here. This is from the New York Post. And this is a rather disturbing story. Missing West Point cadet Cade Corita found dead on campus. A 20-year-old West Point cadet who went missing with a rifle last week has been found dead on the military academy's grounds, officials said Wednesday. The body of Cade Corita of Gardenia, California, was discovered shortly before 10 p.m. Tuesday after local, state, and federal authorities conducted an extensive search covering more than 6,000 acres, 9.4 square miles. We are grieving this loss, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Cadet Corita's family and friends, Lieutenant General Darrell Williams, 60th Superintendent of the U.S. Military Academy, said in a statement. Officials said the cause of death is under investigation, but foul play is not suspected. Corita was unaccounted for since about 5:30 p.m. Friday when he failed to report for a scheduled military skills competition. The academy had said his M4 rifle also was missing, but he wasn't believed to be carrying any magazines or ammo. Officials on Wednesday did not mention what happened to the rifle. West Point also said there has been no indication that the cadet, a member of the 2021 graduating class, posed a threat to the public, but added that he could pose a danger to himself. West Point Police, New York State Troopers, the Coast Guard, CSX Railroad Police, the 23rd Military Police Company from Fort Drum, New York, and local authorities spent 4 days looking for Corita. State police dive teams also used sonar to search the Hudson River and ponds near the campus, the school said. Before discovering Corita's body, West Point announced Tuesday that it refocused its search on the campus's vicinity because the cadet had no cell phone or financial activity since he has gone missing. I would like to thank the New York State Police and the 23rd MP Company along with partners, Williams said in a statement. They exhibited exceptional professionalism as demonstrated by their tremendous efforts in searching for Cadet Corita. Okay, so this is a terrible story, and my heart goes out to Corita's family. But I want to point out that this is also a very strange story. Here they had all these people looking for him, and it was another military skills competition. I'm going to show you why that's curious in just a second. But this guy goes missing. Now, they came out later saying that according to his Instagram account, he had posted like a little suicide note. I have not gotten a hold of any of that. That seems to have been scrubbed if it was out there, but I didn't catch any hold of that. That was the last word that they said. Now, here we have this cadet missing right before he was scheduled to go on this military skills competition. The reason this perked my ears was because I reported on a very similar story in April of this year. It's entitled Soul Search. I highly suggest you check that out. I don't have time to go through the whole story, but this was an incredible story too in regards to this Sol Pais, this girl who was a shooter, and they found her. She was originally wearing camos, and they found her dead. She was supposed to have shot up this school, and in the nearby vicinity, they had another military skills competition, and a person had gone missing during that military skills competition along with their gun. And it was being reported by most platforms that it was a male, but a couple of them were reporting that it was a female. So there was all kinds of sketchy stuff going on in this story. We had a missing soldier in the vicinity that sounded to me like it could have fit the description of this Sol Pais who was a shooter. It just all seemed too convenient. So if you're wondering more about that story, go check out that story, Soul Search, because we covered that in great length. But that definitely perked my ears in regards to this. Now, we don't know enough yet, but I found this very, very strange. It all seems a little bit too neat for me. And of course, if I'm wrong, my apologies to the Corita family, because this is a terrible situation if true. But they went on this search. And of course, during a military skills competition, that could be tons of area that you could be covering anyway. You could get lost doing a military skills competition. I'm very aware of that. But they ended up switching the search because nothing was being used, no phone or no kinds of purchasers or anything like that online. And they went back and they found him on the base. They haven't really stated any more since then. But let me point out a couple more unusual things about this. I'm over here on Twitter, and as you can see, this is an article from the Daily Mail. We're not going to go into it, but you can see on the right, there is the only other picture I've seen so far of this Kurita. He is presenting a picture to actor Stephen Lang. That's a picture of West Point. And this happened just 2 weeks before this event. But this went on for quite some time, and I just find it very strange as we kind of scroll through here. You're going to see that it's essentially the same picture over and over again, and every single one of these platforms is telling us the same story. I'm not being offered anything new. This guy's been missing for long enough. You would think that we'd find out more information. It looks all too neat. And once again, I am not suggesting that something's wrong. I'm just suggesting that as somebody who covers these stories all the time, sometimes stories seem too neatly wrapped up. But either way, this guy was found on the base. And we don't know if he was murdered, and there's been no mention whether or not they ever recovered the rifle. And that would seem like something that the military academy would want to, kind of follow up on us. So we're just seeing the same thing over again, this same picture, same story. As you can see, we're just going through, but wait a minute, who's that right there? Seems like one of the few politicians that weighed in was Chuck Schumer, who says, I'm heartbroken to hear the news about Cadet Kade Kurita. I don't know if it's Kade or Cabe. I'm praying for his family, his fellow cadets, and everyone who knew and loved him. And I'm grateful for the first responders who act so quickly to provide immediate assistance to West Point. So all I want to point out is that this is a very neatly wrapped up story. We don't have any word of the rifle, how he died. They're saying it's no foul play, but if his gun is missing, it would be nice to know if we at least found it. It's possible that they could have found it and maybe just didn't tell us. But after covering a lot of these stories, not necessarily likely. And then, of course, the only politician that I'm really seeing here right off the bat is Chuck Schumer weighing in. And finally, let me leave you with some heartwarming news from the Maddow blog, being Rachel Maddow. New York Times breaking: probe into Trump-Russia investigation becomes criminal investigation. So like we just said, the Durham investigation has now turned into a criminal investigation. And what was so great about it, at the beginning of the video, you saw that it was originally a New York Times article that had to report this. And of course, now Rachel Maddow is having to reckon with it. So just enjoy.
Start right out of the gate tonight with some breaking news that has just come in from the New York Times. This is the news that honestly we've been sort of expecting for some time, or thinking that if things got really bad, it might come to this. As of tonight, according to the New York Times, it has come to this. As you can see, this is the headline just posted at the Times. Justice Department is said to open criminal inquiry into its own Russia investigation. And I'll quote to you from the article. Again, this just posted tonight. Quote, President Trump has repeatedly attacked the Russia investigation, portraying it as a hoax and illegal, even months after the special counsel closed it. Now, Mr. Trump's own Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation into how it all began.
You mad. Maddow is upset. She's got every reason to be. After all, she's been kind of peddling a different narrative for the last 3 years. Great stuff indeed. Boys and girls, I am going to get pursuing on a couple other projects and get back to you very, very shortly. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. And thanks to all of you who do that already. All my alternate links are down below for all you newer folk. If you'd like to go ahead and join one of my other platforms, whether it's Gab, BitChute, Twitter, all that stuff, all my alternate links are down below. My email, my P.O. box, and if you'd like to support the Patreon account, that is down below too. All those links are down below. All right, kids, this is Sir Patrick Mack, and until next time, stay funky.